Welcome, Illumineers. It is time to take a rest from your quest and check in at the Lore Keeper's Inn. I'm your host, Katie. And today I am very excited because we have an episode where I really get to dig into some Disney lore, or as I'm lovingly calling it, lore galore. Work in progress. We might work on that. But if you're listening to this show, I assume you've heard of Disney Lorcana. But did you know that there was a Disney card game before Lorcana was even concepted? So to dive into this chapter of Disney history, I have a very, very, very special guest. This guest has been sharing his adventures with Disney for over 10 years at this point, and is someone who could be described as a human ray of sunshine. From doing his college program at Disney World to donning the plaid at his tour guides in Disneyland, traveling the world, everything he does, he brings an infectious positivity that not only makes you feel like you're enjoying the journey with him, but reminds you that the biggest piece of Disney magic comes from letting your inner child embrace the joy around you. So, without further ado, welcome to the inn, Francis.
Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, it's so good to be on the screen and in your ears. That was the cutest intro ever. Oh my gosh. Rest for before your quest or something. You are an icon. Like literally, that was so good.
Well, thank you. I love theming, and I think that's something. One of the reasons I started the show is because there's this intersection. There's people who like card games, there's people who like Disney, and there's people who like theme parks. And so I'm right in the middle, and I know you're in the middle, and I'm trying to bring everybody right in the
Correct.
middle of all that because what could be better than an over the top theme? Nothing. Nothing better than that.
Exactly. There's so much room in the table. So let's just all have fun together.
Exactly. So it's something where I wanted to have you on because, like I said, you're one of the few park content creators where I know that's not all you do, but you do a fair amount of park content. And you're one of the few people I can find that actually is like acknowledged Lorcana exists. So how did you get introduced to Lorcana, and what made you want to start playing about it, and what did you like about it?
You know, one of my biggest regrets actually was when I first saw Lorcana, I just brushed it off because it was during the D23 Expo. And I could have had the chance getting those limited edition, the 6 pack of like the first made cards that they had at D23 Expo. And also the Brave Little Mickey Taylor um that they were giving out as promos to everyone, which is now what almost
Yeah,
$10,000.
could have retired.
And I was like, right. Like, I was like, I don't need those cards. And the next thing you know, I was aching to play trading card game. And I wanted to start delving into magic. But then I saw that Disney released Disney Lorcana. And I'm like, wait, what is this? What is going on? What is happening? And I got so invested into it that it was even during the time when products were so scarce, I was paying $20 per pack
Yeah.
at like some of these like hobby stores because there was none to go around. Like everyone scalped them for themselves. And it was so hard to get product at the time. And I feel that Ravensburger didn't know that it was going to be so popular and so big right from the get-go. That's why there wasn't so much product to start with. But that's my journey with Lorcana, is that like started with regret with not actually getting the cards at the beginning, but now I am fully invested into it.
Yeah, I feel you big time because I wonder how many, like, people got those cards, either, like, their family or their husband or their child was like, "I got these, like, little promo packs," and we're like, "Whatever," and threw them away or, like, walked past it, and now they could be living in the Hollywood Hills with their Lorcana money.
Literally, it's so crazy. Uh, I wish I just bought them.
I
I wish
know.
I literally had the chance to as well. I was like, I don't really care. But now I did.
I know, that's how it goes. That's how they get you. Now do you like to play with friends, or do you have a league, or is it just a collection at this point, or how do you enjoy it? There's no wrong way, so that's the good news. I'm a gate opener, not a gatekeeper.
I love that. Wait, that was so cute. I'm gonna save that for myself. I enjoy Lorcana in all aspects with friends, with my league, and also with the Lorcana challenge. I did enter championships. I got all the way up to top 9. I was so close. I was so close.
That hurts.
This person asked me, "Do you want to do a draw?" Because if we do a draw, we would have been part of the top 4 for the next round. But I this was my first big competition or anything, so I didn't know that we could just draw and progress to like the next. So I was like, no, let's just play. Cause I don't know. I didn't know the logistics of everything at that point, but I got the top 9 for one of my championships, and I was really proud of that.
You should be, and I mean, gosh, I even posted on Twitter that intentional drawing, I don't have a problem with, but I do if not everyone understands it. Because I think that was the hard part, is that there were people in the room that understood it and people in the room like me that were like, "I don't get it," and so it kinda felt like there was a club where people, like, knew the way of intentional drawing, and if you didn't, it hurt.
Yeah,
It hurt to figure
and
it out
that's
after.
exactly how I felt. I was like, "Wait, you're telling me we coulda just done an ID and then we would've been at the same
Yeah.
place, but just higher?" Oh,
But you
ugh,
accidentally did the noble thing. So a lot of people would say, they commend you for your bravery. So, you lose, you win. I think
yeah. I'm like, "To the next championships."
so. As I mentioned before, you've been to Disney World as a cast member and a guest, which brings me to the topic of today, which is the lore before Lorcana, the game called Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. Did you ever get a chance to play this game?
Oh my gosh. So coming from a Yu-Gi-Oh background and then working at Disney World and knowing that they had free trading card games that you could play all over the theme parks, and someone who lived during the college program too, and also being in Disney World for 8 months, going to the parks every day, things can get repetitive, and Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom really made it so unique because you walk in, you get your pack for free, and then you go around and basically battle your way through to get your crystals. So that's much better.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out in 2012, which is when I was doing my college program. I was telling you before the episode, I even found this is the only one I kept because it was the One More Disney Day one. And so I kept it because it
Yeah.
was like such like a one more Disney Day. And
I'm like, "My holidays."
yeah,
Miss her. Rest in peace.
I think they called it limited time magic back then. So that was like a limited time landing.
Yeah.
Um,
At this point, everything is limited time magic,
it's
but
true, right?
proceed.
They're like, we
Oh,
gave you a bag with your purchase, limited time magic. I'm like, oh man. Um,
yeah.
So for our listeners at home, I wanted to do a mini history lesson. So like I said, it was released February 22nd, 2012. And it was a collectible card game in the sense that, I sometimes struggle the difference between collectible and trading card game. So it was a card game. We'll say that. But it can only be played in the Magic Kingdom, which is what made it super unique. So you would take your park ticket, your proof of entry, whatever it is, as a cast member, you have your main gate. No, I don't your blue ID,
Magic
something.
band,
Yeah.
anything.
You
Anything
just
has a
say,
ticket.
I have the right to be in this park. And then you scan in. In the beginning, they had two locations. They had the firehouse and then behind the ye old Christmas shop. They're like, that's the other place that they found. And what would happen is you would get a little recruiting video. Merlin was the recruiter, and then you'd get a key card and then 5 spell cards. And they were random, right? It wasn't the same 5 in every pack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was always random.
So I thought this episode was especially timely because I don't know if you're reading the discourse online, but a lot of people were guessing that the next set was going to focus on Hades. So I'm holding for podcast listeners. Hades in set 4, there's a card that said this neat little scheme of Ursula's tentacles all over it. That sneaky sea witch. Wait, I can use this. She can use those obnoxious or whatever. She can keep those obnoxious Lumineers busy while I roll up my own plan. So I found this interesting because people were like, this means Hades is the next big bad. But guess what? Hades was a big bad in this game. So it's already happened. The plot was that Hades was bored with the nothingness in the underworld and he's looking for a new
Yep.
summer home. And so he decided that he's going to take over the Magic Kingdom. And he's going to do it. But Merlin was in his way. Merlin's the protector of the Magic Kingdom, canonically.
Yeah.
So he sends Pain and Panic to Merlin's house to steal the Crystal of Magic, a powerful artifact that keeps the evil forces in check in the park. And then the crystals go everywhere, and then you got to go get them. So did you ever play it to completion, like play the full game?
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't. I played it. I would play it, and then I got more addicted into collecting the cards.
Yeah. That's how it goes, right? It's that little part of my brain that's like, I must have this. Like the part
Yeah.
of collecting physical items has always been more fun than collecting digital items to me, which is probably why I've finished very few video
Correct.
games in my life. So the game, you would also get a map. And it was like a very stylized map kind of laid over.
So gorgeous.
Yeah, it was like
It's so beautiful.
it was like old-timey and it was kind of the Magic Kingdom map, but with sorcerers kind of instead. So
Yeah.
every
It's like more medieval.
yes, yeah, very Merlin-y theme.
Yeah.
So, which he's canonically a time traveler, so he can be anywhere at any time.
Oh,
So it
that's
works
fair.
out. Each part or each land had 5 portals except for Tomorrowland. For some reason, Tomorrowland, nothing. Not magical enough, apparently.
It was too busy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
right.
too busy to be over there.
Right. They're like, it's hot, it's loud, there's no time for magic. So you would take your key card and go to the portal. And so the portal would have like a little medallion on the ground. You'd scan it on the keyhole.
And then it opens up.
Yes. And that part was very
I'm
cool.
switching in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and, like,
that
they
part
all
was
had
really
different
cool.
theming, but they were all fun, like, they were all very cool to look
Yeah.
at. Some had movement, some were just screens, some would be, like, a glass window that turns into a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you'd use your
You
spell
made me miss it.
well, I know, right?
I, like, wanna go back and play it now. I'm like, "Wait, that was so much fun."
Well,
Why we stop?
that's the grand finale, is we're gonna talk about, is there room for this, in modern world? So you would use your spell cards to fight the villain, and then after you fight it, it would send you to another portal. Behind the scenes, I read that it would do it kinda like how they do My Disney or Genie Today, where it kinda looks and says, "Well, there's probably not that many people over here," so that's how it directed you apparently. Um,
Mm.
so there was a total of 10 main villains, ranging from Jafar to Scar, Dr. Facilier, Yzma, and then Ratcliffe, just, some British guy.
It was real iconic, yeah.
I think it's fun they all have magical powers, and Ratcliffe's like, "I have the power of colonialism." It's like, "Alright, I guess."
Yeah.
That's this.
Colonized.
Yeah. So they had their henchmen, and then the final boss was Chernabog. I never got to see this because much like you, I like to dabble, I like the cards, but the thought of my attention span being dedicated to that was hard. But the final boss was Chernabog, and then you would complete the game, seal away Hades, the crystal would come together, and I think you'd get another pack of cards for winning if you were like, "I did it."
Yeah, you would run in. What was crazy was seeing kids run around with their crossbody
Oh,
binders,
yeah.
and they would just, like, hold up the entire binder page, and, like, all of those cards would activate at the same time, and I'm just like, "This is so meta."
I know. And it's funny too because I realized I was reading a lot about it the past week, and I was like, "You could hold up multiple," which is just so funny. I only have 2 right now, but just imagining, like, playing Lorcana and be like, "I do this. Is this something?" And you just, like,
Yeah,
wave.
yeah. I was like I remember me and my friends would hold stuff up together because like, they would join me in my quest. Oh my god, LOL. And, we'd all just, like, hold up the same cards or, like, the same amount of cards, and it would be so much more fun that way too.
Yeah. Now, apparently, that was one of the difficulties is that it was camera-based, so the camera had to pick up what card you have, and, it's sunny and hot, and anything that's
Yeah.
outside struggles, so I think sometimes just, like, a default something would happen. Um, but there were 3 difficulties: easy, which you just need to hold up a card, it's fine, medium, and then hard, and on medium and hard, you had to take into consideration what type of card it was and what type of villain it was. So
Yeah. It got harder. But
yeah.
it was more fun that way.
Yeah, but also you had to then pay attention, which is it's rough. It's rough for people, little ADHD kids like myself. Now there were 70 core cards, so it was a pretty small set. I feel like there were some special cards for Mickey's Not So Scary and
Yeah, for me, he's not so scary for sure.
and
And I
Minnie's
think that was it.
Christmas. I think there was a Christmas one, maybe, but
Oh.
I don't know. They were limited, so you had to be there and you had to pay more money to be there. So, um, but there were spell class, attack type, and then 3 stats: attack, boost, and shield. And then there'd be a little bit of flavor text. So people at home can't see it, but like this is an example of one. Will it focus? But yeah, there we go. So
You're just pretty.
Rafiki's wisdom stick. Great. So Rafiki, he is holding his wisdom stick, and it appears to be I can't tell what type of card this is. It's got a it's a mystic spell. It's got a charming attack 2, a charming boost 2, charming shield 2, and said, "This might hurt, but I just gotta hit you with Hakuna Matata." So yeah, it was fun, and there was different ones. I have a second one too. I have Prince Naveen's Army of Frogs. So his was
Oh, that was so good.
yeah, and so in
Cheer
theory,
style.
if it worked, then like a little animation would come along with it.
Yeah.
Um And then, yeah, like, when
My
you get
favorite one was the Rapunzel one. That was my favorite one of my favorite cards. It was so pretty.
yeah. Yeah,
And
and
I
that
think, like, the attack was, like, 5, and I was like, "Oh, this is powerful."
yeah, and if you were playing it with the difficulty as designed, then, yeah, it could actually be hard, and, like, you would have to fight the same villain across multiple portals, I believe, so that's what was one of the tricky parts. Um, so we've talked about a couple things, but and before we talk about kinda, the downfall of it, what were the things you enjoyed about it?
I love that it essentially forced you to enjoy the park in a way that you would have never expected, because all of the screens were basically in hidden places, and that it felt like some sort of secret society club that you were a part of, because you had to look for the medallion on the floor. And once you knew what that was, you knew you were in the right place. And then once you were starting to activate things, it just got more and more fun, especially with the animation and all the villains that you were facing. So it became more addicting that way.
Yes, and like you said, it was fun to do with friends. That's something where I think it's a good side and a negative side when you think about it. It's fun to do by yourself because you don't have to convince anybody else to spend your day doing that. So that was, like, the one benefit is if you do by yourself, you don't have to, like, be like, "Hey, guys, what if we went to the most fun place on earth, but we're not doing any rides. We're just running around the park with cards," and
Or
that's a
just
tough sell.
party. Or just collecting cards.
Yeah. So I think it was definitely designed for locals and cast members. I think those would be, like, the 2 people who enjoy it the most, the 2 groups of people. Because I think about it, like, yeah, if this was your one day, you're the family that goes to Disneyland once in a lifetime, once every 10 years, like, I think it would be a tough time to be like, "Hey, you have to wait in line to get your card, and then you're doing this." So, I started the negative. I'll still say a positive. The positive is obviously it had all the magic of Lorcana. I mean, you're collecting cards, it's pretty, there's strategy, you're touching media. I think that's something that people crave. I think that's why Lorcana and
Yeah.
Pokemon had a
And it was
resurgence.
free.
Well, and it was yeah, and that was the other thing too, is it was a thing you can get in your hands for free at the parks, which always
Yeah.
feels good to have something even, like, Splash Mountain gave out Ziploc bags, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take a Ziploc bag because it feels
Yeah.
good to have a thing." Um, and so I think there was so many good things about it. The negative that I would say is, the time of it all, because, I mean, you have, I think at the very minimum, I think it was 5 enemies to fight, 'cause I think you had to do 1 in each land. So,
Yeah.
each encounter took about 5 minutes, but typically when I would get to an encounter, there'd be usually another person in front of it, and you'd have to kinda, like, look away
Yeah.
because you
And then
didn't
you
want
spoil it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I
was
think
just about to mention that too.
and that
That's
kinda
probably the down.
yeah, because you kinda had to be like, "Yeah, I'm in line, but I don't wanna see," because like, there's, like, a couple parts. There'd be, like, the reveal where, like, something in the window would either, like, move a curtain or something would happen. So that was,
Yeah.
like, something you didn't wanna be surprised or, have spoiled, and then also what the villain would do. And I think that was hard because you couldn't look, for what was going on. Um, and yeah, I think it's interesting because, other theme park people might say, "This sounds familiar to Kim Possible slash,
Mhm.
Phineas and
In
Ferb
Epcot.
slash" what's the newest one?
Yes.
DuckTales?
I think those are the only 2, right?
I think
Yeah.
DuckTales is a current
It was
endorsement.
like, oh, DuckTales is doing it now? Okay. Yeah, Kim Possible, Perry, and then DuckTales?
Yeah, I think it is because if you go, like I remember being in the toy store and, like, a robotic duck came out of the toy stand, and I was like, "My stars and garters, what is that duck?" So
So fun.
So that is another adventure game. So basically, this wasn't the only time Disney said, "Let's play a game while you're in the park." Not in the slaw way, but in a fun way. This the ones in Epcot, I think, worked more because Epcot is a little bit more boring for the children. Like in Epcot, you are like if your parents are eating and drinking, I think it's more fun to give the kids a cell phone and say, "I don't know, go find Perry." So I think that's
Yeah.
maybe why those games just have been around longer. Um, but it was around for 9 years, so it was around until 20 yeah, 2021 is when it closed,
2021 is when it left. Yeah.
which I feel like after the pandemic, there was, like, a list of things they're, like, thinking about getting rid of, and they just got rid of all of them at the same time. It was a brutal time.
Yeah.
Um,
We're like, "Boo, JPEG."
yeah,
Anyways.
rest in peace, Magic Express, package delivery from park to room, Disney dining plan, which is kinda bad. But I'll do a eulogy for all the things we lost in 2021, but this was one of
Yeah, I'm like, "Cue funeral music."
yeah. that I will remember you. So do you think, knowing that, if it would have stayed in the park, do you think there is be room for something like this today? Or do you think there's room for Lurkana in the parks? If you were, you put on your, I call it armchair illuminating, what do you think the future of this could have looked like or would be?
So one of my favorite things is that me and my friends sit about and think about synergy all the time with Lorcana
Mhm.
and how much more fun it would be. It would also be a great press too for movies to have limited edition cards of the characters from the movies as Lorcana cards. I think that would be a great synergy. In theme parks, I feel like Disneyland and Disney California Adventure would thrive in this because it's already a local park and there's so many frequent visitors and there's so many collectors in Disneyland, and I feel like it would flourish so much, especially because there's so many nooks and crannies in Disneyland. I feel like they could really capitalize on Sorcerers in the Magic Kingdom and combining it with Lorcana, or just turning it like a Lorcana in an in real life quest
Mhm.
in the parks, and then you're collecting your lore that way. You know?
Yeah, like Ursula's, return had the Illumineers quest. I think it could be fun to have, like, almost a real time Ursula's return quest or something. I think it's hard because I think we always still have that time sync, but I'm glad you mentioned that, like, Disneyland's a whole different breed because I was a Disney Worlder. I
Yeah.
went to Disneyland, there's just people hanging out. They're bringing their stuff. They're like, "Oh, yeah, this is how I spend my day."
It's a workspace.
It is, yeah. There's, like, different groups. There are people who haven't been. There's some people who are like, "I am the rocking chair people." That's their thing. They go to the rocking chair and they're rocking chair people, and that's where they hang out.
You know, all morning in
Yeah,
in
there's
the porch on Main Street. That's their spot.
I know, I wanna take it. That's kinda one of my dreams one day is, like, I'm gonna be a stink like, I'm the chairperson. Like, will they fight me? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, like, people will say hi to them too, like, they're, like, real locals, like,
Yeah.
they're almost like characters on Main Street, and they'll be like, "Hey." I did that one time where, I was hanging out on the porch, and there was an older person on the bench, and everyone would just say hi to him, and I was like, "Oh my god, are you more local than me?" Like, I'm here all the time, but I don't go in the mornings anymore just because, I'm more of a sunset type of
Yeah.
Disneyland person now
The
because the
golden
heat is
hour.
crazy,
You can't beat the golden hour at
Yes.
Disney. But yeah, so there's the bench people. Oh, there's also the pin trading bench people, which I know that there's been a cutback on that, where there are people that bring, like, all their pins and just put them on a bench and go,
Yeah.
"Behold." But that could be Lorcana, and then I wouldn't be upset by it if it was Lorcana. I say I'm upset. I'm not upset. It's just they're not really there to trade, really. They're more like, I'm a pin trader, and I don't usually they're kind of more there to just be like, "I have a lot of cool stuff." I'm like, "You do. That is a lot of cool stuff."
Yeah, and you just browse through, but I feel that Lorcana could have that same moment,
Yeah.
honestly.
And sanctioned. I think Disney could sanction it and be like, "Hey, this is like a cafe, the Lorcana Cafe or like the Illuminary Cafe," where they have something like,
Oh my gosh.
what was it in, Hollywood Studios? There was this cafe that people would go to, the Writer's Shop, I think. The Writer's Shop
Oh
and
my
then
gosh, I don't
also
even know. Yeah.
Blockline Tavern. Blockhouse Tavern? Either way.
Oh, now it's Tap House, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Baseline, it's
Yeah.
Baseline now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that's a beloved place for locals because it's very chill and you just hang out. I think they even have, like, board games possibly. So I think something like that could
Yeah,
work.
the
Like,
entire Disneyland is literally like that, like,
yes.
for people who haven't gone, like, it's like Disneyland in California is just a chill spot.
Yeah, people are like, "I'm hanging out." It's funny because yeah, I'm coming in next week for a work trip, and I was like, "I'm gonna go to Disneyland and just enjoy the ambiance," because that's what it's for, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy they're selling Lorcana, in the parks now too,
Where?
which
Tell
is
me,
so
because
nice.
I need to know by next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So in Disney California Adventure, they sell it on the first store on the right-hand side when you go in.
Okay.
And then when you go into Disneyland, they sell it in the same pin trading store on the right-hand side, like after the magic shop.
Okay.
And then they'll just have like stacks of booster packs and binders and decks and deck boxes and sleeves that you could just buy in the parks.
That's
It was
exciting.
really cool. Cracking packs in the parks is so fun.
It is, and yeah, because it makes it, like, a little bit more magical, and you're like, "I spent $6, but I got the magic of opening in a Disney theme park." You can't beat that.
Yeah, in a Disney park. Exactly. And also cracking packs is so addicting. So addicting.
Yeah. And so there's one thing I did want to run by you because, we've talked about the history, we've talked about the benefits, the
Yeah.
downside. Um, there's a big discussion, not big. If I big is anyone I talk to, that's where the discussion is. Do you think there's room to have like a Lorcana set based around characters in the park, like animated ones, like Figment and Oswald and Duffy? Duffy, please. Duffy, you can hear me.
Oh my gosh, that would be such a cute set of Duffy and Fred.
I dream it.
That would be so adorable. I really do think they should because, again, synergy is money, honestly. If
Yeah.
they really want to bank on Lorcana collectors and people who just collect in general, this could be another way for them to segue that kind of money in, especially since you'll only get access to this if you have access to the theme parks. I know that's like another pay bump or pay level, but it would really be fun to see those characters come into real life. Like, can you imagine like a Madam Nim dragon, but it's Figment and it's also like 4 lore or 3 lore, I forget how much he quests for.
But she's a problem.
But
Yeah.
it would be so cute. It would absolutely be so adorable. And I think there is room for that. I think they're just still trying to see how much ground they can cover in a sense of can this be as big as other trading cards have been? And I feel like it can. I feel they need to use more newer characters because I feel like now we're getting a little bit repetitive of some of the characters that they keep showing. But the newer the characters, I feel like
You don't want a 10th beast card? Or maybe an 11th? Someone really likes the beast. Someone in Ravensburger is like,
oh, yeah. There's someone in Lorcana that really loves the Beast, loves Ariel, and
Jafar. He's a
oh my
pretty,
gosh,
he's popping up. And Hades too.
yeah, yeah. I'm like Hades keeps popping up. I'm like the best Hades card was literally from set one. Like,
Yeah.
can we keep going or like what? Like, what is going on?
So, but I think that brings up a good point that there is room. I think that more theme park people, that's my goal, is that with because I've seen you talk about Lorcana, but like you're proselytizing the Lorcana fun. And I think there's room. And I think I heard people are hoping that maybe nationals or global will be at Disney World or Disneyland, which would be so cool.
I feel like they would really like shoot themselves in the foot if it wasn't.
I know.
Because it's just asking for us to quest in the park.
I know.
Like the synergy would be crazy.
And
And
imagine.
I'm like, what is not clicking? Like, let's just do it.
I know, right?
Just in the hotel. I'm like, you can offer a discount, you can offer discount park tickets, you can offer limited edition cards, you can invite all the vendors. It all makes sense to me in a Disney park, either in Disneyland or in Disney World. Like it's there. It's there. The magic is there.
Yes. Yeah, like Leota, if Ravensburger, if you hear us, we stand ready, the two of us, to make this happen. We'll plan it.
I'm like literally, I'm like everyone tag them in this podcast so they can listen.
Because I'm ready.
So they know where to improve.
I know. Because I think if there's one thing about Disney fans is people are like, oh, it's always more money. I'm happy that I spend a lot of money on Disney and I will continue because it's my thing. It's my favorite thing. So if they give me a chance to buy an Illumini or Spirit jersey, I will buy it. It's not a question, it's an answer.
My dream is to buy a hoodie that has like 4 lore stars and then just like be like, oh yeah, like me as a walking character, I am questing for 4 each time.
Well, I appreciate you coming on my little show. It's been so exciting to talk to you. Like I said, I feel, they talk about parasocial relationships. I always felt like it was like a little less parasocial because like I knew a person that knew you. So I'm like, it's not weird. This person, I can root for them from the sidelines because it's a friend of a friend. But that's kind of the Disney college program separation is everybody knows somebody on the Disney college program.
Yeah, correct.
So it's been so exciting. I appreciate you spending your morning with me. But before we say goodbye, where can people follow you, watch your adventures?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone can follow me on Francis Dominic. The last I in Dominic has 2 eyes. I am on every social platform. I mainly use Instagram and TikTok. So that's where you will find me the most of my adventures with Disney and also with just pop culture in general. And especially most of my Lorcana journey is also on Instagram. I have a highlight of all the stuff I've done with Lorcana so far. And I only hope to keep growing for Lorcana.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see your journeys. Are you going to any of the DLCs coming up?
Yes, I am going to the one in Texas, and then hopefully I get tickets when it goes on sale for Las Vegas. Because I feel like a lot of West Coast people can make it to Vegas since it's only about a 4-hour drive from SoCal. And so I feel like it's a lot easier for them versus where it's been recently. Because Atlanta's kind of far from us, and also Chicago's kind of far. Texas is like in the middle, but still it can cost still money, but Vegas, I feel like there's so much incentive with like the hotels, the nightlife, and also just being in Lorcana.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be at Dallas, so if I see you, I'll give you a sticker and be like, "Look, you get a free sticker."
Oh my god, will you really be? Oh my gosh. I would love to see a familiar face. Okay, like don't
Yeah.
mind if I like give you like the biggest hug ever because those things can be intimidating. Street men can be scary. And
Yes.
so I would love to see a girly pop there.
Yes, that is the number one thing I wanna start with the show is, TCGs can be a boys' world, the toughest boys. Really, it could be a room where you walk in, you're like, "Are these?" So, it's not great sometimes walking to a room where you don't feel represented, so I
Scary.
I'm happy there, I'm happy you're gonna be there, and I hope that, if every one person that sees someone that they're, like, identifies, then they are inspired to come too. That's my biggest goal is that it makes people be like, "Wait, I can do this. I should be a competitive TCG player."
Yeah, it's really nice to see too, like even in my DMs, like it's been nice to have people being like, "Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you so passionate," especially for someone who's like very out there,
Yes,
very gay, playing TCG in like a male-dominated straight world is really cool.
it is.
And I'm just like everyone can be their own inspiration too. I'm like, the moment you walk in through those doors and you start playing this game, people will see you and be inspired by that. All you really have to do is just show up. You
Yeah.
don't have to win anything. You can lose everything, but if you show up for you, you're also showing up for others. So I think that's the most beautiful aspect about it.
It is, and it's great because, I mean, wear your Disney ears, wear your Loungefly, wherever people are just so happily themselves at these DLCs. I haven't been to one yet, but I watched it, and I love to see it. I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to meet everyone else. I'm ready.
Are you competing or are you just an attendee?
Competing, but I'm not, I'm gonna play for a little bit and then probably get knocked out. I'm not expecting to be like, I played for 8 hours. I'm in day 2." That's not in the cards for me, both spiritually or literally, but I will be playing in the main event the first day.
Gotcha. Okay. I bought my tickets too late, so I'm only an attendee, but I'm gonna try and like purchase everything so that I can try to get at least a non-foil promo card.
Yes. Yeah. Are you going for Cinderella or for Rapunzel?
I'm going for all of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, whatever I can grab my hands on, I am there.
Well, the good news I would highly recommend if you're gonna do any side events, definitely 40 Barn. Their podcast is so good at helping me with limited, so I love them. I'm giving a shout out to someone else's show, so I love this community, and I like having you on the show, and I appreciate you so much for being who you are in the community and just bringing, like I said, human ray of sunshine. I highly recommend if you guys are looking for videos where you're like, "What's something that Francis does?" His Tokyo videos where you've been to Tokyo Disney a few times, I love them. I feel like I'm there with you, and they're just so fun.
Oh my gosh, I wish wait, hold on. You might what is it called? I have been yet to Tokyo, but I help cover for people who have been to Tokyo and I share their stuff. I
Wow.
wish I was
You
there.
haven't been to
One day it's gonna happen next year. We will be
Did
there
I dream you there with
for sure.
Patrick? I feel like I'm going crazy.
You definitely probably have dreamt me there.
That's
I'm like,
good.
but I have yet to be there, and it's hoping to look like this year and hopefully next year.
Alright, I
But Patrick
manifested it.
has done a lot of content there. Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
I'm seeing
I
it too.
saw it. I said, "That's so Raven" moment. I got confused, and I was like, "Oh, so it's the
No,
future."
you just saw my future. Like, I will be there, and you'll
Okay.
be like, "Oh, this is what I saw."
Yes. Perfect. Well, thank you, listeners, for joining me for another episode. As you know, there's always room for more at the end. So if there's anything you want to hear me talk about, please feel free to contact me at contact@thelorekeepersin.com or reach me on Twitter or Instagram or any of the socials in the description. As always, thank you for hanging out with me today. We're always happy to have you stop by the Lore Keepers Inn wherever your quest may take you. And remember, if you don't know where to find us, just take the second start of the right exit and head straight on till morning.